Today we will be implementing a project using AWS EKS with Terraform, Jenkins, and ArgoCD. This is a very technical project. We'll do a step-by-step implementation, all the configuration. Let's dive into it. Before we start, there's four main concepts that you guys need to be familiar with. The first one is the Amazon EKS, which is an managed servers, elastic Kubernetes service that helps run Kubernetes cluster on AWS without handling the complexity or managing control plane. AWS just take care of the scaling, upgrades, and high availability while you focus on deploying and manage the containerized application. So this would be our compute for this project. We'll use Terraform, which is an open source tool to define and provision and manage infrastructure as code. So it lets you describe the infrastructure in simple configuration files and then create, update, and destroy resources like servers, networks, database across various cloud providers. So we will write all the infrastructure with Terraform. We have Jenkins, which is another open source automation tool that helps build, test, and deploy software, and it's used for continuous integration and continuous delivery. We will use this. We will create a CI/CD pipeline with Jenkins to create the Terraform resources and to publish the Docker images. And we will use ArgoCD is a GitOps tool for Kubernetes that automates application deployment and make sure that Kubernetes application matches the state defined in the GitHub repository. So we will use this to make any kind of updates to the Kubernetes clusters. This is the main four tools that we will be using through this project. We'll move on to the architecture of this pipeline. So we'll have the application code hosted in GitHub. We'll define the Terraform for creating the Jenkins server, which will be deployed on an EC2 server. From Jenkins, we will create CI/CD pipeline, which will launch Terraform code to create EKS and node groups. So everything will be created through infrastructure as code with Terraform. And we will have another CI/CD pipelines to install the dependencies of the application, build the Docker image, publish it to Docker Hub, and then update the image name in the GitHub. And everything will just populate to ArgoCD to update the EKS. So in this use case, the application would be a simple Tetris application. So we'll have a first version that we will deploy it through the pipeline. And then once we confirm everything is working, we will try to publish a second version, which would be something like different, more modernized. This is a very simple demonstration. And let's dive into it. All right, guys, so the first thing we will do here is to open AWS console and go to the IAM to create a user. And create a user, I call it Terraform user here. Make sure to give it administrator access, and also make sure to create an access key and save the ID and the secret for the access key elsewhere. Make it safe and don't try to make it accessible to the public. After you create the user, we will install Terraform. So open your terminal in your operating system. It depends on what operating system you're using. You have to have like a different step to install the CLI. After you install the CLI, just make sure you have Terraform installed and configured. Also AWS CLI. This is all available like in Google, and it's very easy to do the setup. Okay, and then do the AWS configure. Put your access key, then you will put the secret, and put the US East 1 as a default region, and then your credential will be stored in the let me see, CD AWS will be stored here in credential. Yeah, of course. Don't share these credentials with anyone. This is how you will access to the AWS resource through the CLI. Alright, so after we have Terraform, AWS, and all the credentials configured in your operating system, the next step is to deploy Jenkins server using Terraform. Okay, so I'll just go to workspace, create a new folder. It's called DevOps Tetris project. Okay. A GitHub repository here. So DevOps Tetris project. Okay, public, create repository. Alright, open your terminal, git init. So initialize it and then probably, yeah, just add the readme. Oh, we need to create readme first. And then add it, git commit. Alright, so this was committed, and then git branch main and add the origin, and then yeah, just push it. Alright, amazing. Look at this. Okay, we have the readme here. Just open with VS Code. Alright, just to make sure that's yeah, okay, we have readme here. So I already wrote the Jenkins Terraform, so just throw it here. Okay, Terraform. So yeah, I will create a new folder called Jenkins Terraform. Okay. I'll grab the files and just so here. Okay. So we have different files to create our Jenkins resources. The first thing that we will configure here is the backend for Terraform. So we need an S3 bucket and we need a DynamoDB table for the state locking, and we will initialize the workspace. So go back to your AWS console, go to S3 and create a bucket. For example, DevOps Tetris project. I would assume this is not available, maybe. Okay, we'll try. Alright, we have it here. Okay. Okay, so we have the DevOps Tetris project here, and then go to DynamoDB, table, create a table. Yeah, DynamoDB state locking, partition, log ID, and string. Take this name, default. Okay, create table. Okay, this is creating. So here we have DynamoDB as a state locking as a DynamoDB table, and for the bucket it's going to be DevOps Tetris project. Okay, this is the key. Like I just name it DevOps demo Jenkins. This will start the Terraform state. The key for the Terraform state for this backend. All right. Yeah, after this, I will just see if the DynamoDB is created here. Yeah, it's active. Okay, we'll do like a quick walkthrough through these files. This is the EC2. This will define our instance, like the type, the key name, subnets. We have user data here to install all the different stuff that we need. Java, the Jenkins, Docker, AWS CLI, the kubectl, Terraform. We don't need this. All right. This is the AMI, the image for the Jenkins server. This is like, yeah, IAM policies and profile that we will need to attach it to the server. This is the provider, the variables, DFVARs, just like VPC name, subnet name. You have to make sure to create a key pair. I'll show you here in the AWS CLI. Go to the EC2 section and navigate to key pairs. Create your own key pair. So this is the key pair that you will use to SSH into the server, right? Create a key pair. Just yeah, give it a name, RSA. Select that and just download it. It's just a file that will be downloaded in your operating system. And yeah, make sure to match the name here. Okay, and of course we'll create a VPC where we will host the EC2 server. Yeah, just a simple Terraform code. All right, so with this being done, I'll open terminal here, new terminal, and do this. Terraform init. We have to navigate inside the folder first, and then Terraform init. Alright, so the workspace has been initialized. We have the log and the .terraform created here. Okay, so just to make sure, I'm gonna add a git ignore because we don't need to include this folder. It's a huge folder in our git repository. So git ignore, and this is a well-known git ignore for Terraform, just to ignore all the files that we don't need to be included in GitHub. All right. Probably right now just do Terraform validate, just to make sure that everything is okay. Success. I have the DynamoDB here. Okay. And after that we'll do Terraform plan dash var dash file variable, and hopefully we get a plan here. Okay, so the plan here, we'll have 10 AWS resources to be added, 0 change, 0 destroy. Just a quick glance here. Okay, EC2 EC2 will be created. Yeah, looks good. Okay, after the plan, of course, we will have to deploy all the resources. So Terraform apply dash var dash file variable.tvars dash dash auto approve, and just click on the button. All right, we'll wait for this to be created, and okay, so for me, I'll just git status, git add, git commit, Jenkins Terraform, git push. Amazing. Just to confirm. Oh, this has been completed. This is the Terraform apply. We'll check this out in a second. Okay, open the console again, just to make sure here we have all our files. Okay, as you can see, the .terraform is not included, so that's good. And yeah, we'll go to the EC2, check the instance running, and we have our Jenkins server running here. Amazing. All right. So right now the next step is to SSH into the Jenkins server. So go to connect. We'll have to SSH to the client. Um, as I mentioned before, we will use the key pair that you created. Make sure to give it the right permissions, and then all you need to do is to SSH using that key. So go where the key is located. I have it here in downloads, and just like do this. Yes. All right, I am inside the Jenkins server. Just to make sure that we have everything configured correctly, because like in the as you can remember, in the user data we have already installed Java, Jenkins, Docker, all the tools that we need to for the setup. Okay, so Jenkins dash version. This is installed. Um, Docker version. Okay, Docker is installed too. Probably this is Docker dash p. Okay, so we have Jenkins, Docker, Terraform, kubectl, and AWS all installed in this EC2 server. So yeah, as we have everything configured, let's go to the EC2 instance, grab the ID, public ID, and 8080 to access to our Jenkins dashboard. So administrative password, you can find it. You can have a command that we can use, just to sudo cat, and you will grab the password. So this is sudo cat var lib Jenkins secrets initial admin password. That's the initial administrator password. Just grab it here, copy, continue, install suggested plugins, and just wait for everything to be installed. All right, create a username. Just create a password here. Okay, this would be the URL for Jenkins. Save and finish. All right, let's start using Jenkins. Okay, and now we have access to our Jenkins dashboard, main dashboard. All right, next step is to do the same configuration for AWS. So you have to set up your IAM user here. So add the access key, the password. Yeah, just add everything here. Just do the configuration right now. Okay, just hide my terminal as this is sensitive data. ID, secret access key, and make sure to use US East 1 as the default region. Yeah. All right. Okay, after you add your credential to the AWS configure, go to Jenkins. So manage Jenkins. Go to plugins. And available plugins, go for AWS credentials. So we need this one, and go for pipeline. AWS steps. Yeah, this one. And install them. Okay. So once both the plugins are installed, make sure to restart the Jenkins server. Wait for the Jenkins to be restarted so we can use these plugins. Alright, so now log in with the username that you created. Go to manage manage Jenkins and select credentials. We'll add the AWS credential, so global credential, add credential. Those would be AWS credentials, the ID, grab alright, and just add create. Awesome. You have the ID now configured. Alright, so right now for Jenkins we go to new item, pipeline, and we'll do EKS Terraform deploy. Okay. So before we create the pipeline, we have to make sure that we have the code available in GitHub because we will so create a new folder here, EKS Terraform. Okay, I already created all the pipelines that we need. Just grab all the files and copy paste it here. Okay. For the back end, we need to do the same thing as Jenkins. So just use the same bucket. The key is different, same DynamoDB table. Okay, this is a simple EKS cluster. So we have EKS cluster node groups that will be hosted in the cluster, some IAM policies, roles. We have the provider here, the variables, and yeah, just the same thing. It's and we will use the same VPC as Jenkins. All right. So we will publish this. EKS Terraform. We'll create another folder here, Jenkins pipeline. And it's gonna be Jenkins EKS Terraform. It's a simple Jenkins pipeline. Different stages like checkout from Git, initialize the Terraform. So it's the same steps that we do in our local machine, but that will be like inside a Jenkins pipeline. So initialize Terraform inside the directory, and then validate it, plan, and then just deploy the resource in the cloud. We have two options here: either deploy, apply, or destroy. So this is like a parameterized Jenkins pipeline. Okay, I'll just add this to Git. Nice. Okay, I'll grab this code and put it here. Okay. Right, so just to make sure that we have all the codes here, because Jenkins will check out our EKS Terraform, and we'll use the code hosted here. Um, all right, and then build now. Okay, as you can see, our pipeline is running. We initialized the Terraform, validated success. Now we have the plan here. Let's see how many resources will be created. It says 11. Okay, and yeah, the apply just getting started. This will take like around 12 to 15 minutes to create. It's a longer process than the Jenkins, so just wait for this to finish. All right, so the pipeline is finished and it's succeeded. Let's see here. Go to AWS cluster, refresh, and we have our cluster here. Compute, and we have 2 node groups running. All right, amazing. We go back to our Jenkins server, and we will. The next step is to configure ArgoCD inside the cluster, inside the server. So the first thing is to configure EKS on the server. So we have this command AWS EKS update kubeconfig and the name of the cluster. So we just add the new context here, and then you do kubectl get nodes, and we have both nodes running over here. Okay, right now we will install ArgoCD control on the EKS cluster and to make it publicly available. So I'll create a namespace for Tetris, and then we will configure the controller on the cluster. So create another namespace for ArgoCD, and we will have to apply this manifest that's publicly available from GitHub. I'll make sure to include all these commands in the README, so you guys have like these commands available too. Just apply. Okay, and to validate that everything is installed, just go to kubectl git pods -n to specify one namespace and ArgoCD. Yeah, we have everything here. So just wait for everything to be running. Okay, everything is running. Controllers. All right. So right now we have to access our ArgoCD control through the GUI, and we need to set up a load balancer for it. And we have a command to do that. So just make sure to grab the command here. Okay, this is the command kubectl patch svc, which is the service for ArgoCD server -n ArgoCD -p to include the type of the load balancer. Just click enter, and the service is modified. Right now, if you go back to your AWS console, back to EC2 console, go to load balancer, you'll find a new load balancer created here. Click on it, grab the DNS name, open a new tab, and you will be redirected to a new connection is not private. So click on advanced and just proceed to this link, and now we have access to ArgoCD. So once ArgoCD is installed, there's an initial password for this, and we will have to grab it. So this is like from a Stack Overflow page. What is the default ArgoCD password? And yeah, you just need to grab this command and go to your. I'll share this link with you guys. Okay, this is the password. Okay, go back to ArgoCD. This will be admin. And this is the password. Sign in. All right, we are in. Right now, the first thing we'll do is to create an application. So application name, Tetris. Project name, default. So this thing would be automatic. Alright. This is the GitHub repository. So probably grab the name here. Go back. So this would be head and alright, so in this part we will have to provide a manifest file, so we need to add this to our Git repository. So we would have this folder, a manifest file that has a deployment service, which would be the Tetris inside Kubernetes. So just a simple Kubernetes deployment file. We'll have the container Tetris running. So this v1 first version. Yeah, just a service here, and we will add it to our GitHub repository. Manifest file. Okay. Okay, this has been added. So the path for the source would be the manifest file, of course. Something like this. Manifest file. Okay. Destination. The cluster would be this one, the default one, and the namespace would be Tetris. The namespace that we already created. Oh my god. Oh, we'll have to write everything. Okay. Awesome. Fuck. So click on create application, Tetris. This is automatic. Grab the GitHub URL. Head manifest file. Okay. Cluster default Tetris. And click on create. It will be syncing. While this is being in progress, you have to go back to your Jenkins, open dashboard, manage Jenkins. We have other plugins that we need to install available. So first one is Docker. So Docker, we need Docker commons, Docker pipeline. We need Docker API. We need Docker build step. What else? Eclipse. This is for the GTK. Yeah, probably we need GTK. Node.js for the application code. And that's it. Install. Okay, so right now what I will do, restart Jenkins, and I will um, add the code for our first version of Tetris. So just grab the code here. Okay, this is Tetris V1. Let's do this. Tetris V1. Just a simple React application for our first version of Tetris. Okay, log in again to Jenkins. Alright, go back to dashboard. Alright, so let's do manage Jenkins. Go find tools, which is this one. Yeah, and we will first configure the GTK. The names will be GTK. Install automatically. Add an installer. This would be from optimum.net. The GTK will be GTK 17. Oh, this one. Yeah. And then we'll configure Node.js. So this would be Node.js. Install automatically. I'll probably use Node.js 16. Okay. We need Docker. So Docker install automatically. Latest. Yep. So just say save and apply. So in our Jenkins file, we are going to push a Docker image to Docker Hub, and then we have to update the same image name with the new tag in the deployment file, which is present on GitHub. So to do that, we need to start Docker and GitHub credential and Jenkins. So dashboard, manage Jenkins, go to credentials, system, global, and the first credential we'll create is for the Docker. So just select username with password, global. Username will be Malish, and just grab a password. Yeah, we have it. Where's the Docker Hub? Yeah, this is the Docker Hub. Okay. This is the username. Of course, you have to create a Docker Hub account to publish your Docker image inside it. Just like a simple Docker Hub account. ID, just Docker, description Docker. Alright. And then add a secret text. So in GitHub, we need to create a path This is how we access to the GitHub repository. So just like go to your GitHub um, settings, developer settings, personal access token, token classic, and generate a new token, classic. Okay, use the password here. Alright, and yeah, just give it all permissions. We don't need like all these permissions, but just okay, names. This is like DevOps demo. Grab it. This is sensitive, so I'll just delete this later. So, but this is a very sensitive credential token that you will need. Just post it here, GitHub, and GitHub create. All right, so we have Docker and GitHub both configured in Jenkins. Now go back to dashboard, new item, pipeline, and just do Tetris view and deployment. Okay. All right, so of course we'll have a new pipeline that we need to define in our VS Code. So Jenkins Terraform, Jenkins pipeline. I have two pipelines here, which would be Tetris v1 and Tetris v2, v1. So we'll do like a cleaning for the workspace. We have GTK and Node.js here. Check out the Git. Make sure to include your the correct URL for the project. Install dependencies. Docker image build. After we build, we will have to push it to the Docker Hub. Include your username here for the Docker Hub. Check out the code again, and then update deployment file, which would be this file. So Jenkins will just update the deployment service to include the right version and the right tag, and push it to GitHub, right? Okay, so grab this code and just paste it here. So save and apply. Okay, just make sure to push my the two pipelines, Tetris, Jenkins pipeline to the Git. Alright, with that be done, I will do the build. Alright, so the pipeline has been finished and everything was updated. We'll to the ArgoCD dashboard, you will see everything is in sync and healthy. So to access to our application, you need to go to the servers, grab the host name here, open a new tab and click OK, and now you have your Tetris available. So this is the first version of our Tetris application, and it was published to the whole pipeline. Right now, what I will do is to create another pipeline for the second version. Okay, so let's go back to Jenkins, dashboard, new item, pipeline, and Tetris view deployment. Okay, and of course we'll have the code available here. Just dump it here, save, apply, and we will need to add the Tetris v2 application code. So just going to grab it. Add it here, and of course need to commit. So in the terminal we have to git pull because we updated this file. So it's v1 tag 3, and now we can add the Tetris v2. Right, commit and change. All right, just click on build now. All right, so the pipeline has been succeeded. If you go to your project, update to version 2 here. Okay, if we refresh the ArgoCD to make sure, okay, it's updating to publish the new version. Okay, probably give it like a couple seconds to so everything will be reflected on the servers. It's gonna be the same host name, still the v1, so probably have to wait a couple seconds here. Alright, so if you go back to ArgoCD, you will see that everything is in sync and healthy. If you go back to the same DNS hostname, you'll see the new version is published instead of the v1, and just click start. And this is the newer version of the application. Alright. Okay, right now, as this is being configured and working correctly, we'll just do the cleanup for our resources. Probably the first thing that we will do is to destroy the load balancers manually. So we have 2 load balancers. Action, delete load balancer, confirm. Then we have a Jenkins file here, EKS Terraform deploy, and we can do destroy instead of apply, and we just destroy all the EKS cluster and the node groups inside of it. So we just need to wait for this to finish. Alright, so the destruction for EKS has been completed successfully. We'll just go to the clusters, refresh here. Okay, there's no cluster. Okay, so the last thing that we will do is to destroy the Jenkins server. So just navigate to EKS Jenkins Terraform and do Terraform destroy like this. And yeah, as you can see, tend to destroy, so just give it some time and everything will be destroyed. And that's it for the cleanup. I hope you guys enjoyed this project, and yeah, if you have any question or anything, yeah, just reach out to me, and yeah, happy learning.